don't have any slides to do. I just talk a little bit about pregnant women and the lactating women. And the first thing that pregnant women are not at higher risk of getting the infection. I think the chance of infection like any patients, okay? But it is true because pregnancy is immunocompromised situations. So if they get infected, sometimes the severity of the symptoms may be more. Now, if a patient who is pregnant and get infected, we exactly treat the same way. And that means that apart from the mother, we ask about the temperature, saturations, calpol, etc. We also ask them to check the baby's movement. And usually it's called count to 10. And it originated from Cardiff as well. So in the morning, 1 hour, in the afternoon, 1 hour, in the night, 1 hour. So 3 hours, they count the movement and we multiply it by 4. So if it is more than 10 in 12 hours, that is reassuring. And the most of the time, the patient's count is around 30, 40. Now, one thing is that the COVID doesn't increase the chance of miscarriage, and COVID per se doesn't increase chance of congenital anomaly. The COVID not necessarily will increase chance of preterm delivery, but for the symptoms, if it is a high fever with some other symptoms, that might initiate the problem with the preterm delivery. So whenever the patient is pregnant and asks for the advice, we ask them to get isolated and to get obviously the nutritious food from somebody who is around but not infected, and to do the routine check with the saturation with the pulse oximeter. And if the pulse oximeter is less than 94, they should get in touch with the hospital to organize for the admissions. Now, there's one good test, which is 6-minute walk test, but sometimes it's difficult for the pregnant, especially advanced pregnant women to do because pregnancy itself is very tiring. So they sometimes find it difficult to do 6 minutes walk test. Now, apart from that, they're already taking some iron, calcium, vitamin D anyway. We do not like to really give any antibiotics unless there's a strong evidence they're getting some secondary infection, which is usually not the case. When the patient goes to the hospitals, many hospitals, unfortunately, Calcutta refuses, or at least refused the first time, to accept the COVID-infected pregnant women, which is very unfortunate, I believe. But this time, this attitude has changed. So in the first one we have seen, the patient, especially in the government hospital, has been referred from pillar to post to find out a hospital which is sympathetic enough to take these COVID pregnant patients. But nowadays, I think they have got these guidelines. And so most of the hospitals which used to accept the pregnant women, even they are infected, they're accepting them. And the doctor is quite happy to help them to monitor the pregnancy, to see their conditions, to discuss with the respiratory physicians, to give the multidisciplinary approach, and if necessary, help in delivery. COVID per se is not the indication of doing cesarean sections, but no doubt about that, if they get delivered, the situation is much more better to at least manage. Because pregnancy itself is such a condition, you can understand, you cannot ask the patient to be on the prone conditions. And also with these BiPAP, all the other high flow oxygen, sometimes the patient cannot lie down in a comfortable positions as well to get those things in the right proportions. So if the time has come for the delivery, and sometimes we do the delivery, no doubt about that, after discussion with the patient. The second thing is that obviously at that time you have to make sure they're not developing any coagulopathy or some other problem. The advantage is that from mild to moderate patients, many times we do the operation under spinal, should not necessarily report extra risk to the anesthetist, but obviously everybody have to use the full-grown PPE and take the extra care. And in case the patient has got symptoms, but still not yet diagnosed, and they need delivering, then obviously you always treat them as COVID positive. Because as Raja told, 30% cases still come back as negative, which is a false negative. So you treat them as COVID positive patients and do whatever is necessary. Now, after the delivery, that when the question comes of the breastfeeding, they can do the breastfeeding, they can use the face masks. Most of the times what we feel comfortable by expressing the milk and giving to the babies for the nutritions. Most of the modern hospitals nowadays have left few neonatal beds for observing these babies who has delivered from the COVID mother, and they just observe the signs and symptoms for any unusual things. And then whenever the mother is out of danger, and then obviously they can give the baby to the mother. The rooming in is possible, but you have to take the extra care so that the mother doesn't affect the baby straight away. The second thing is that the vertical transmission of the pregnancy to the baby, initially that was a big no-no, that it cannot happen. But few cases we have found that a virus has been found or antigen has been found isolated from the placenta and amniotic fluid. So it is a very, very, very low cases. So there is a possibility vertical transmission, but so far it has not proved that too much bad thing for the baby. So that is the thing for the pregnant women and the lactating mother. For the vaccinations, I think that though there is no evidence on the Covishield or Covaxin, the only evidence from mRNA vaccine and the study which accidentally included the pregnant women, not necessarily intentionally, they included the pregnant women in their study, they found that it gives good protections. Initially, we got the recommendation from the ICMR or FOXC not to use vaccine for the pregnant women, but very recently that guideline has changed. Now they have told that we can use that vaccine for our pregnant women, but you have to understand whatever the evidence is on the mRNA virus, which is not yet available in India. Personally, I like them to get vaccinated because out of the vaccinations, the disadvantage and the advantage outweigh the risk anyway. The lactating mother also can get vaccinated, so that is not the issue here. So for the pregnant women and for the lactating mother, we do not do anything very different. We just treat them as normal as possible, like any COVID patients. But obviously, if it is a very severe COVID, sometimes it's very difficult to manage.
Okay, that was a brilliant presentation, Dr. Shudip Basu. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Okay, so I got one question in my personal chat about the vaccinating of the pregnant women or the lactating mothers. What they can do with the vaccinations? Are they going to proceed with any sort of vaccine, or there is only one particular type of vaccine they can go for?
I don't think in the near future mRNA vaccine will be available in India. So I think whatever we will have in hand, we should vaccinate them. And that is the recommendation we have got from India government.
Right. Is there any other questions? Okay, so there is a question from Mr. Kollal Kumar Ghosh. The vaccination for general people of second dose is constantly moving from 6 weeks to 12 weeks, now 8 weeks. So what is the guideline on that?
Is this a question to me or to Raja?
Yeah, I think anyone can answer this, because I think this is the problem in everywhere. Even in UK also this has happened. So it was first when we started with mRNA vaccines, it was straight after 3 weeks the second dose.
See, I'll answer these questions. So when it was told that we can take Covishield within 4 weeks, and we are the frontline health worker, we get the vaccine, then we are very elated that yes, we are protected. And we had this misfortune of believing that we are protected. And the initial joy and elation now is gone down the drain, because very recently, every week, we are getting doctors who are dying who has taken these two vaccines. Now, the problem is that, as you can understand, the scarcity of the vaccine in India is a significant problem, and which is definitely is not going to be sorted out in near future. So every time UK announces that these two vaccines can be gapped 6 to 8 weeks, our ministry increased by another 4 weeks. And it perfectly works for them, because then you get 3 to 4 months to replace the whatever the lack of vaccine you have done already. So every time Raja and his big group from the 10 Downing Street announces, and now you have to get 2 doses of vaccine in 8 weeks or 12 weeks, it directly goes to our ministry and they increase by another 4 to 6 weeks. Now, whether it works or not and how much is going to be protected, yet to see. Okay, there's no doubt about that. But probably this 4 weeks gap is not the ideal one. In fact, tomorrow, by the insistence of my colleagues, I'm going to do anti-spike antibody. Now that might not necessarily help, because that will only help the IgG antibody, but will not tell the T-cell based immunity. But the reason why you are doing it, that in case it comes down very, very low, we might think about getting another vaccine like Covaxin or something later on. The biggest problem with that if you go through the same app, you'll not be allowed, even you can pay, you'll not be allowed to get another dose of vaccines. So it is a huge problem. We do not know how we are going to sort it out, but at the moment, the guidelines what the Indian government has come out is 8 to 12 weeks. That means 2 to 3 months, they might increase it again.
Sudipta, if I can just mention something.
Yes.
I think the evidence at the moment, and with all the studies, is that if you delay the vaccine to 2 doses of vaccine up to 12 weeks, there is a good immune response. Now, that is the evidence, but the Indian government has reduced it to 16 weeks, where there is no evidence. So there is no evidence to say it should be increased to 4 months. The only reason which it has been done is exactly like what you say, availability of vaccine. It is not because it is medically or scientifically the right thing to do. There are not enough vaccines, so you use it across a wider population. Things to remember, 2 things. One is that even if you have 1 dose of the vaccine, you have about 60% protection. If you have 2 doses, it obviously increases to nearly 90%. So much more effective. Now, if you have 60% protection, and if you can reduce the vaccine virus spread in a population, you are more likely to control the pandemic. However, how effective it will be after 16 weeks, no one knows. So I think there is a lot of things which are being done because of non-availability of vaccine rather than using proper science and reasoning behind it.
I think there's another question that has come through, and it's my question as well. We've often seen cases where people are getting infected after the double dose of vaccine. So, how much of protection are we really getting after 2 doses, and what's the probability of getting infected after 2 doses?
Do you want me to answer that?
Anyone who can take
Carry
this up.
on. Then I'll add something. You carry on first, then I'll add something.
The thing to remember with getting the infection, none of the vaccines are 100%, none of them. So even if you have 2 doses of vaccine, it is still about 88 to 92%. So you still have a theoretical, you have a risk of getting the infection. And that's why the recommendation is, even if you have had the vaccine, if there is a very wide pool of virus floating around, then you should take the mask, social distancing, everything as a precaution. As the pool goes down, as the number of viruses floating in the community goes down, your chances of not getting the infection also goes down because you have a high level of protection. So that is the reasoning behind it. But, most people who have the vaccine, and the evidence is and I think this has been proved by all the studies. Once you have the 2 doses, the infection and the death rate has gone down in UK considerably. In January, I had a ward, 5 wards full of patients. At the moment, I don't even have a single patient with COVID in the hospital. So that is the difference it has created.
Yeah, I think that is
I
a
think
very
it's
great
very,
news.
I think it is very interesting, Raja, how the perception changes of the human being. I can remember a few years back when I traveled in Japan, and I used to see the people are wearing masks in the train. Then I used to think these are crazy people. Now nowadays, if somebody I see that without the mask, I think they are crazy people. Now, you have observed one thing, at least I have observed from my colleagues, the doctors are dying from these COVID infection after 2 doses of vaccine. Very, very few intensivists and very few respiratory physicians. But these respiratory physicians are looking after 60 to 70 patients per day. They are roaming around in the ITU with a full of very, very sick patients who are on ECMO. But very interesting, they are not getting very sick or they are not dying. And I'm not telling that we want that, we want them. So it shows that whether you are vaccinated or not, they never let their guard down. But you will see most of the time it is happening with the gynecologist, the general practitioners, pathologist, etc., because they think, oh, we are vaccinated. We are not dealing with the COVID patients. So probably we can see the patients in the clinic with their guard down. So whether you get vaccinated or not, even you get the 2 vaccination, please use mask, because the PPE you do not need in all surroundings. In fact, the myth about the PPE, nowadays we use less PPE, but the mask, if it is properly owned, it is actually going to cut down the infections and the mortality and severe infection. I hope that Raja will agree with me.
Right. Can I also add something with the mask, wearing of mask? I have seen some patients, they are wearing the continuously a same mask every day. So how can they, how can they think that they are protected from any sort of virus wearing the same mask? Means, is there anything that, is there any guideline that you have to change your mask every day or after a few hours, like after 4 hours, you just change one mask, especially those medical masks or the cloth mask, the fabric one, which I think means, for my personal view, that is not very safe in this infection time. So how can you advise?
Raja, for you.
From my understanding, cloth mask is more like a filtration thing. It doesn't really do anything much. If you are in an area where there is a high virus load, especially in a hospital, a 3-layer mask or a N95 mask is the only one which will give you protection. Also, the fact is, if you are using a cloth mask and things, it will give you a lot of satisfaction that you are wearing something, especially outside when you are in the public area. But if there is a high virus load, it is not going to protect you at all. So if you're going to use something, use a proper mask, which is a 3-layer mask or an N95 mask. And one thing Sudipta mentioned, which is very interesting, is about respiratory physicians and how the death rate. And also the other thing is, some procedures are very high risk. For example, Arjun, the things which he does, it's very high risk. ENT surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, they are in a very, very high risk profession because of the spread of the virus during the procedures. So I think that also is a very, very significant risk factor as to what you are doing as a doctor.
Okay, can I also mention something about the toothbrush, towels, these personal belongings? How are they going to look after this toothbrush, especially from the dental science? I have seen some guidelines about this toothbrush use, that those who are COVID affected, they should change their toothbrush immediately after few days, means after 17 days or 14 days, whatever the guideline says.
Can I answer it?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
The toothbrush used by COVID patients should be thrown away. There's just a very clear guideline about that. And I mean, there's one thing for sure: people don't really share toothbrushes, so that's good. And the toothbrushes used should be thrown away straight away. The towels should be sterilized or washed in soap water, cleaned, and that will do it.
So is there any sort of degrees they should maintain when they are washing in the washing machine, like 60° or 90° towards the fabrics?
In India, we don't have hot water washing machine. You just the soap is one of the biggest killer. I mean,
Okay.
the one thing that kills COVID is the soap. So use liberally soap and wash them with the water. Keep them soaked overnight if you want to, and just wash it next day. It's very easy to kill a COVID virus if you take a good bath with soap. If you wash your hands with soap, if you use detergents to clean your garments, and that usually get rid of COVID.
Okay, there is one more question from Mr. Devashish Rai. Which one of this Covishield and Covaxin is better? Please, can you explain which one is better? Yeah, I think this is a question from the last few days.
It depends on which one is available. Now,
Yeah,
also
Take your way.
it depends on Covaxin data is not yet been published, the stage 3 study, but I think it is due to be published very soon. So once we get that result, so it will be obviously much more useful. Covishield, I think, has got a robust data. Also, there is some risk about intracerebral clotting and the side effect. Although very minuscule, there is a risk, especially in the younger age group. But it is very difficult to compare because on one hand, we have very robust data on Covishield, but we don't have the data on Covaxin yet.
Get whatever vaccine come in your way. Grab them
Exactly.
with your both hands and
Exactly.
just get it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
we are short of vaccine. Beggars can't be choosers.
No, no, I think it is better to just get some sort of protection at the moment. So rather than
Absolutely.
choosy.
And,
So there is,
Just
sorry,
at least
Debarati, can I just take over?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is one question about what is the probability of the reinfection if a patient is already a COVID positive patient for few weeks. So is there any probability of reinfection from Shomo Roy?
somebody else answer it, or should I answer it?
Reinfection.
Yeah, I think that's the right person.
So if you are talking about reinfection, if you after vaccination or after infection?
No, suppose someone is okay. So both ways. So someone is COVID positive and has got vaccinated double dose, and is there any chances of reinfection? Or in between these two doses, someone has got COVID. Is there any chance of reinfecting again?
I haven't seen anyone who has been vaccinated who has got infection, but I have seen a few patients who has got COVID themselves and has been readmitted with another COVID infection. But that is mainly because they have got symptoms, not because their RT-PCR has been positive. The question is whether they get reinfected or whether they have got some other infection and just the RT-PCR is positive because they are shedding the RNA virus. No one can be sure of, but they are being treated as a positive if they have symptoms. The PCR is positive, but it's not very clear yet.
Okay, there is one more simple question about immunity level in one's body. Can I just ask Debaruti to just confirm with Tapun Kumar? I have a simple question regarding immunity level in one's body. Is it after the vaccinations or after the COVID positive case?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go on.
Very recently, I'm confused about one news. So far, I knew that the immunization level of one's body, if that is higher, then that will give a safeguard against the infection from the COVID-19. But very recently, one renowned doctor in India, I just like to name his name. According to his study, he's saying that when the virus enters in our body, it enables the cytokines which can fight with the virus, which is inside our body already, and the flowing out of those cytokines will make us more sick and make all the troubles in lungs and every organ of our body. Now, my question, whenever I go for vaccination, so that gives me immunization. So far, I understand. So if the immunization inside my body gets enhanced, and if that increase the flow of cytokines, which welcomes the problem of various level, then I'm confused actually. The vaccine, it enhances my immunization level, which will enhance my cytokines, flow of cytokines to fight the virus, and that causes a lot of problems. So what is the use of vaccination then?
Right, it's a very good question. Anyone? It's a very good question.
The
Yeah,
way
go on.
you look at a vaccine is not on an individual level. You need a hard immunity, and hard immunity is not possible without a vaccine. So you need to vaccinate a portion of the general population to stop them from transmitting virus from one to other. So there is two ways to do that. One is lock everyone at home, and in a country like India, it will cause devastation. It will cause hunger, it will cause deaths, it will cause political unrest, social unrest. And second is you distance between two people so that they don't transmit the virus. You make them wear masks, and they wash their hands frequently so don't transmit the virus from one to another. And the third and most effective and the best way to do it is vaccinate a substantial number of the population. So I think not getting vaccinated is not an option to us. Obviously, it is given to willing individuals. You may not have the vaccination if you don't want to, but I have got a very simple joke to tell you that most of the healthcare workers are already vaccinated, including the nurses and the technicians. So if something happens to us, you're already doomed. So better take the vaccine. So most of the doctors and the nurses and the healthcare workers perished. I mean, what's the point? I mean, most of us got vaccinated. So that's the best way.
It's my
Embrace.
gentle reminder, sir. It's my gentle reminder, sir, that I have already taken both the vaccines.
You did
That's
the right
not
thing,
the
sir.
question. My question is on
did
the
the right
medical
thing, sir.
science. If that
So can I-
vaccine improves the, that is my point. Medical science, what they say, if the vaccines improves my immunity system, and if that enables to increase the cytokines inside my body, and if that causes a problem to fight with the COVID-19 virus, then what is the impact of these things?
Can I
Rajan, you want
answer
to
this one?
that?
I have taken both the
Yeah.
vaccine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So if I can answer that one, so there are two types of immunity. One is B cell immunity, one is T cell immunity. So what the vaccine does, it produces antibodies initially, and in the long term they stimulate the T cell immunity. And the cytokine storm is basically dependent upon the innate immunity of your body. So anybody can have the cytokine storm. We cannot actually predict that who's going to have cytokine storm and who's going to have a high cytokine, because high cytokine sometimes very helpful. Only when it's become storm, it causes problem with the other systems of the body. The vaccine as such doesn't cause increase in cytokine because it's increases the antibody level. So in a way, it fights against the virus and helps the body to protect against the virus.
Okay.
Of course, it helps in T cell immunity, but it's a very long-term process. But that doesn't cause the cytokine storm. It is basically the innate immunity of the body which causes the increase in cytokine. And sometimes, most of the time, it's helpful, but sometimes it can, in a storm, that can be causing problems. So we cannot predict that whether you're vaccinated or not. We cannot predict the cytokine storm at all.
I got it.
Okay, I think
Thank you very much.
we are running a bit late now. One last question. I think this one is a very popular one. People do ask, like, how long after getting the infection one should get a vaccine, and what's the duration of that time?
I think the current recommendation is 3 months. I think the government India has said that you can get vaccinated after 90 days after having infection.
In UK, it is after infection, you should have it after 28 days. I don't know about India.
4 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
It was 4 to 8 weeks. It's been changed to 3 months just now. At the same time as they changed the vaccination.
I think that's because of the not evidence, but availability of vaccine.
Availability of vaccine.
The evidence is 28 days.
Okay.